Commitments to the team. First and foremost, we are finding God's unique value in each individual. That's Jacob Allen and his buddy Andrew. Jake's home sick because he poured out too much. Second, we'll be flexible to serve zestfully where God leads. I wasn't even around and they put the word zest in it. I like it. Zestfully. That's Anna and her buddy Sammy right there. Next, we will treat everyone with encouraging, loving acceptance. The girl there in the purple is McKenna, and she's with our girl Quinn. In addition, we will serve selflessly to meet others' needs, not our own. That beautiful little girl is Kylie, and she is with Lauren. In conclusion, fearlessly going out of our comfort zone, we will be a friend to all as we grow in our faith. And that's Anna with our friend Katie, who's from this church. To be the best is to have the zest. That's what our team was about. And that's Isaac playing laser tag with little Brady. He's the boy who has the surgery every 6 months. And then this is our passage from Romans chapter 12. Do not lag in zeal, but be enthusiastic in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Endure in suffering. Persist in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Be in agreement with one another. Do not be proud. Instead, associate with the humble. Do not be wise in your own estimation. You know, this team, they showed up as learners. And they put this passage into practice. And they lived with a lot of zeal, pouring out from breakfast till bedtime, side by side with either a special needs kid or a buddy, giving them all the attention in the world, loving them right where they were. And so I've asked the team to share about how they saw God working behind the scenes, how they saw God's miracle going on in ways you can't see with your physical eyes, but with eyes of faith, you know that stuff was going on. And so the next one, that's the question I asked them. How is God working this week? And several students and a couple of adults are going to share, and I'll let them introduce themselves. They'll practice putting the microphone very close to their mouths so that you can hear them. So first will be Rachel. Oh, where's Jesus? Yeah, little Jesus cross.
Okay, so my name is Rachel. I wasn't one of the buddies. I was in the kitchen most of the time, but I had breaks every once in a while. When I was out there, I saw the buddies working their love on the kid. And some of the kids weren't very verbal. They didn't show emotions very much. And so I had to have faith that God was working in them. Ones that did show expression and were talkative, were very happy with the buddies. And so that's how I saw God working this week.
So I'm So I saw God working behind the scenes by helping me get along with my buddy. I actually had two of them, Levi and Ezekiel. They were brothers of Kylie. And I wasn't sure I was going to get along with them. Some buddies were great and some don't, and they don't figure out they made a difference until the last day. And I got along just fine, and both my buddies were energetic, and they loved going with their family. And I just I had to fake a lot of it because I was tired. And let me tell you, it was tiring, but it was a really rich experience. And I would say, I just lost my train of thought. It was an overall great experience. I had a phenomenal time.
And this was actually Robbie's fourth time down there. The Bartlett family has gone 3 times as campers, and they were there again. Mike and Sally and his little sister Katie. And the Rain family was down there from our church as well with their families. Good job. We're passing around Jesus.
Okay. So my buddy's name was Kylie, and she is 6.5 years old and was an hour and a half, and she would just like crack up laughing for no reason. So that was like, oh Jesus, it just made her laugh. So, yeah.
So one of the coolest parts of Kylie's story is her parent, at the end of the week, there's a talent show that the children get to put on for each other. And they had prepared a little video about how doctors said that because of her challenges, she would probably never walk or move around much. And she started walking at 2 with braces, and at 4 she started walking with a little walker, and then she's only been walking 4 weeks at camp, but they put on this song called Walking on Sunshine, and then had Kylie walk across the stage. And she was so adorable. She loves music. She would go like this, right toward here. Watch this. We'll play it out. I'm Kylie. This is Lauren, right? And Lauren's so adorable, saying, "Come to me." And Kylie would go, "Drums." And her mom would pick her up and carry her back. And she said, "Drums." For the 3rd time she went over, and it was so sweet. Yeah, it's special time. This is Lauren Clonch. She's Anna's big sister and joined us. Thanks.
I'm Anna. Okay. And I had Sammy, and she's 17, and she was born with cerebral palsy, and she has scoliosis, so she has like 2 rods in her back. She showed me the x-rays, and they were really hard to look at. And she can talk, and she has the brain of a 17-year-old, but it's harder for her to like speak because it takes so much muscle, and so you just have to be really patient with her. And when I was there, I wasn't with her at the time when this happened, but one of the other buddies came up to her with a girl, and they were like, "Oh, hi, what's your name?" And she didn't reply right away. And the guy was like, "Oh, she can't talk." And she, obviously she heard that, and so she was upset about it, so she told her mom, and then she told me, and her mom was like, "Well, type it up on your iPad." She had this little app on her iPad where she can type things out and then press play or something, and it speaks for her. And so we did that, and we were going on a walk, and then we just all of a sudden saw the guy. And so I was like, "Go over there and press play, you can tell him." And so she just went over there and pressed play, and then it was like, "Hi, my name is Sammy, I'm 17, I have cerebral palsy, it's just my muscles, I can talk." And it was so funny because he was like, "Oh, okay." And then we just left, and she was like, "That was so awkward." It was really funny. And yeah, so I was just, it taught me to not judge people, because you never know what's actually going on inside. And she totally understood, and she was a sweetheart, so I'm really glad I got to know her.
Hi, I'm Kay, and some of you know that I teach middle school math, so I'm with kids all year long, but these kids behind me gave me a whole new perspective and a real respect for their faith and their willingness to serve. When Chris said, "Look for the things you couldn't see," so I thought, "Oh no, I saw that, and no, I saw that." But what I know was going on underneath was that the whole camp is based on a believing is believing. They have faith that it's all going to come together. Chris talked a little bit about how the camp is divided up, and when you see the video, you'll see the different colored shirts. The red shirts are the core staff. They're the ones that are there all summer long, for the most part. And these are not green, these are teal. The teal shirts are the servant teams, and they're usually family units that come and serve. I'll talk a little more about that in just a second. And then you have the blue shirts, which are the families of the campers. You have the yellow shirts, which are the buddies. And then the gray shirts, which is the kitchen crew, and kept us well fed for the whole week. The weather was not cool, it was very warm, and even though there were fans going and air conditioning in some of the spaces, the kitchen crew worked really hard in a hot spot and fed us well. The servant team wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing when I went, but knew that I wanted to go and be a this great, great group. And we wash down the tables every morning before, or each day before the meals. After the meals, we clean the tables, we swept the floor in the pavilion, which is a very large building, probably about from here to there, and about as wide. Then we got to clean the community restrooms. It was such a joy. 3 showers, 2 bathrooms with 3 stalls in each one. We got to scrub the toilets and scrub the shower and mop the floors. I didn't even do that in my own house. My husband came down on Thursday for the talent show, and he says, "Oh, now I know you can do it."
Oh, no.
But what was inspiring to me is in the servant families, there were about 8 adults and about a dozen little ones, from probably 3 up to 10 or 12. And my expectation of these little kids was that, well, they're going to want to just play, so we adults will be doing the work. That was so not true. Those little kids grabbed the spray and grabbed the rags, and they were spraying down the tables, and they were wiping them down. And in the showers, they wanted to mop and they wanted to scrub, and humbled me over and over with their energy and their excitement to do household chores. But they were the heart for me of the camp from my area of service. And I was just so energized by them. And as I say, very humbled in their energy. I told one of the moms, if you ever figure out how to bottle that energy, would you please send me some? Because I could certainly use it. The fact that this camp runs 8 weeks out of the summer, providing rest for families who pay nothing to go. And I did a little of the math because some of you know I teach math, as I said. So if there are, let's just say, 18 to 20 families each week, and each family costs about $500 for the week, so that's roughly $10,000 each week for 8 weeks. That's $80,000 that this camp gives to these families in the way of service and food and everything. Choosing of the buddies was another behind-the-scenes kind of thing that we don't see. The kids on Sunday would spend some time with the campers as they arrived, and then the leaders and the people from the camp got together to decide who to match up for buddies. One of the parents said, "I've been coming for, I think it was 3 years, and I'm amazed every year at how perfectly matched the buddies are with the campers." That is God working completely and totally. And our kids were matched up with buddies. Some of our kids were asked, who would you like to work with? And the kids they spent Sunday with, they said, "I want more challenge." They wanted to serve more. How mature, how awesome for these kids to have that attitude of Christ. And I was so honored to be a part of this team and to see these kids come into it more mature than I ever expected, and to come away from it so blessed and so blessing to the families. And I thank you for supporting us, and I pray that this will be an ongoing mission that this church takes on, that Bible school mission decisions, that we as a church continue to support this camp, both with money and with people to go down there. There's so many things that we can all do. The kitchen, the servant team. We don't necessarily have to be a buddy with the kids. There's lots of other jobs that we can do. And I would love to go down next year with a whole bunch of you. I think it would be really awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to make Carol tell at least that one story of our Owen's mom.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if this guy cries.
Well, there's so many things going on there, and one of the things that my wife and I got to experience was sitting down next to a lady who had kiddo with very profound needs in a wheelchair. And it turns out that she had, that boy had a sibling, a sister, with the same condition, and it's some crazy thing. She said what it was, and she said there's only like 12 cases in the whole world. But her story was so amazing that when she first came to Camp Attitude in 2010, when she drove through the gates, she said she was filled with bitterness and anger. She didn't know the Lord. She didn't want to know the Lord. Her friend that was with her said, well, you know, they're just going to be preaching that God stuff. And she said it didn't take very long at all to get there and to start hearing the songs and to start softening her heart. And through that process of coming to Attitude, she later accepted the Lord. Her and her daughter accepted the Lord. And her daughter were baptized together. And 8 days later, her daughter died and went to heaven. And hearing this story from her, I'm telling you, I was a mess. And, you know, it's not possible, but there are so many stories like that. The way God works beneath all this is so amazing. And it works on all of us, it works on all of them, it works tremendously together.
And the incredible thing is that she was actually serving this week. She wasn't there as a camper family. She was there serving as one of the red shirts. Her life had been so transformed by what God had done through Camp Attitude. Can you thank God for our missionaries and their sharing as they... I couldn't agree more with what Kay was sharing. I feel like our partnership with Camp Attitude is just beginning, and I'm excited to see what God's going to do from here. And in a moment, we'll close with a little video slideshow of pictures that you can, again, feel like you were there. But I just wanted to close by just sharing vulnerably. This is a big stretch for me. I've been to West Africa and seen little starving kids and inner city homelessness and Native American reservations, but out of my comfort zone, medical things. My wife's a nurse. She knows I don't really like hospitals or machines that go bing or feeding tubes and all those things. It's really a stretch for me. So I knew God wanted me to be there. And I can tell you that we do mission work for our students because I believe it changes our hearts so that we have a heart like Jesus. And then in the midst of his economy, it blesses people tremendously. And that's how I can say without a doubt that God was working behind the scenes. That it's not seeing is believing, but that it's believing is believing. One quote that one of the students said, she said, if I had the chance to go to Disneyland next summer, I would still rather go to camp. It was that amazing. And I think that kind of sums up our experience. When we allow ourselves to be made available for God to use, when we trust in Jesus and know that there's something in the midst of the mess and the hurt and the struggle and the suffering, there's something that God's doing beneath the surface, and we get to be part of the light and the encouragement in the midst of that mess, there's nothing like it. And these kids, they're just not coming back from a week of service, they're now prepared for a lifetime of service. And it inspires me, and I hope it encourages and challenges and inspires you as well. I'd like to close with just 2 lines from a song by an artist named Jason Gray. And they'll come up. With every act of love, we bring the kingdom come. The world has one set of values. The kingdom of Jesus Christ has another set of values that loves on the least and the last and the lost. With every act of love, we bring the kingdom come. And God put a million doors in this world for his love to walk through. One of those doors is you. I can tell you for a fact that 19 doors from this church were letting God's love walk through them this past week at Camp Attitude. And you can be very proud of them, and you can most be proud of the fact that they're going to continue to let God's love walk through them as they go to their schools, their businesses, their work, their families, their neighborhoods. We've been changed. And I hope that by being part of our sharing today that you've been changed too. So let's pray together. Father, it's true that life has got its struggles. It hurts. There's no easy button. But Jesus, we can trust you that you are there for us and you are good and your promises are true that you'll never leave or forsake us. We pray for those families going home from Camp Attitude the last couple of days, to the challenges of their reality. Breathe encouragement and refreshment into them every day. Lord, we pray for these missionaries and their words of inspiration today. May we, each one of us, walk through life knowing it's not what we see, but believing that you're at work in the world below the surface. And help us be part of the difference and the impact you're making in the world, Jesus. We pray all this in your mighty name. Amen. Please enjoy this video.